And this is one of the biggest reasons why I think that Fox deserves our support. I'll explain why later in the video. Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and today we're going to be working on a Fox Factory Series Float 38 fork with a GRIP2 VVC damper in it. We're going to be doing a full service on this fork, 50-hour lower legs, air spring service, and damper service. Not a hard fork to work on. The damper has one little detail that we need to pay attention to. The rest of it is pretty much straightforward. We're going to break this out step by step to make sure that you have everything you need to get this job done successfully in order for you to go out there and hammer this thing again. All right, so let's get into the tools and parts needed for the job. I'm going to break out the tools into two sections, the lower leg 50-hour service tools in case you want to do this on its own, and then the air spring and damper service tools. No matter the section, the most important tool right there, wear your safety glasses, especially with a grip or GRIP2 damper. Tools in order of use, if you line them up like this, it might make your life a little bit easier. So write down our settings, pencil, pen, paper to write them down, shock pump in order to get our air settings and fill it up later with air. Then we're going to remove the rebound dials. We need a 2mm Allen for that. Then we're going to remove our nuts. We're going to need a 10mm and 15mm socket. And then to separate the shafts on the inside, Fox makes these tools over here to separate the shafts. This is a M10 and an M10 and an M8, I believe. I'll write it down. You don't have to buy Foxes. You could get aftermarkets like this. They're way cheaper and they work just as well. You're going to need a mallet in order to separate the shafts. From there, we're going to separate the lower leg from the upper leg. You are going to need an oil pan to put the oil into. Then first thing we're going to do is remove the foam ring. We're going to need a pick for that. Remove the wipers. Any tire tool with a thick plastic coating will work. You could use a wrench. Just make sure you don't chip your lower leg body. Then I'm going to go into my little cleaning ritual, which includes a wooden dowel, rubber band, and paper towels with alcohol. We'll get into that later. Then we're going to put everything together. We're going to insert our wipers. We're going to need a 38mm wiper insertion tool. Fill up the lower legs with oil. You're going to need syringes, basically. Well, there's two different oils over here. So basically you're going to need, well, at least one syringe, just clean it in between. Torque wrench to torque everything down, and that's pretty much it for the 50-hour service tools. As for the air spring and damper tools, they're in their own little sections over here. These tools in the middle, or these in the middle, are for both of them. So let's start off with the air spring. First, we need to remove the cap on top, 32mm chamferless preferred socket. If you have a chamfer, just be careful. And then at the bottom, there's a retaining ring. A flat pick will help with that retaining ring. We're going to take it all apart. First, we need to take off the base stud. You're going to need a 10mm hold on a soft jaw with a 12mm wrench and a 12mm torque crow's foot in order to torque it back down. So then we're going to put everything back together. A bullet tool, part number below, comes in very handy so you don't damage the quad ring or the skirt seal that's in there. We'll go over that later. And a little syringe to put a little bit of oil in there when we put it all back together, plus some Loctite red for the base stud when we put it back on, and picks in order to change seals. So then for the damper side, for the damper, first you're going to remove the dials. We're going to need a 2mm Allen for the dials, and then we're going to need a 28mm socket to remove the damper shaft assembly as a whole, okay? When we remove the assembly, we're going to need a soft jaw hole with about a 22.5mm 7/8 soft jaw hole in order to put the damper body in there. We're first going to remove the seal head from the rebound. For that, we're going to need a 20mm wrench, adjustable wrench, Nipex, but 20mm torque crow foot in order to torque it down later. So then first, we're going to empty out the oil. You need an oil pan for that. Then we are going to start with the compression side. We're going to remove the compression knob. You're going to need, again, a 28mm socket for that. Then we're going to remove a 3mm bolt that holds the piston stack in there. And we're going to work on that. We're going to put it back together. Now, on the top of the stack, there is a small C-clip. There is one optional, I would consider, O-ring. We'll go over that later, but it's a little C-clip, and you're going to need two small fine picks to fit in the little holes in order to be able to get that C-clip out. And I highly recommend a magnet so you don't go running around looking for a C-clip for the rest of the day. So then when we're going to put it all back together. Then we're going to work on the rebound side. For the rebound side, first, we need, again, a 2mm Allen in order to loosen a bolt that holds the piston stack in place, then a 15mm wrench in order to remove the piston stack. And then we're going to start separating everything. Again, we're going to need a 12mm to remove a base nut. And then we're going to need a 13mm to remove a base nut plus a crow foot, right? Then we're gonna need a 12 millimeter when we put things back together. We're gonna need a 12 millimeter with a 7 millimeter in order to torque down the piston stack. Then when it comes time to adjust a VVC, we're gonna need a feeler gauge, 0.03 inches or 0.76. This is a typo, I'm pretty sure it's close enough, 0.75, 0.76, but 0.03 inch feeler gauge. We're gonna need that, okay? We'll go over that later. Torque wrench, we're going to need those to clean the upper bodies, alcohol, paper towel. There are a couple little detailed tools that are not here. We will get into them as we go through this job. So let's go over the parts needed for the job. As always, we're going to need seal kits for the job. So for the Fox 38, there's 3 seal kits that we're going to need. We're going to start off with the lower 50-hour service seal kit. Now, Fox makes their own seal kit that comes in a package like this for the 38. Comes with the wipers and everything. This is an aftermarket SKF, the owner of the bike. This is what he wanted on there. This is what we are going to put on there. I'm going to put the Fox part number below. For the air spring, the seal kit part number from Fox is 803-01-487. Again, this is for the 38, so make sure you get the right size kit for your fork. For the damper, we're going to need part number 803-01-494. Again, GRIP2 VVC, and this for the 34, 36, 38, and the 40. Oil. For the damper, we're going to need 4-weight oil. It used to be 5-weight Teflon. They moved to 4-weight oil. You can still use the 5-weight Teflon if you happen to have it, right? 20-weight gold for the lower leg. And I'm going to be using SRAM butter. You can use Slick Slick Honey, whatever you prefer, all right? Well, let's start working on the fork. Before we work on the fork, we want to make sure it is clean. Wash it thoroughly. Make sure there's no mud or dirt in the steer tube, behind the crown over here underneath the legs. We do not want dirt falling into this thing when we put it back together later, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down our settings. There's 5 settings we need. For starters, I already sort of removed this. Take your cap for your air, put it on the side, grab your shock pump, screw it in. And we are at 84.5 for air, 84.5 plus 3 max. So that takes care of our air. Now we're going to remove the air slowly. The slower, the better. Next, we're going to write down our high speed and low speed compression. The blue dial is the high speed. The black dial on the inside is the low speed. Let's start with the high speed. Let's turn it. Actually, both are going to turn, right? Let's start with the low speed then. So count the clicks. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 2 clicks. 2 clicks for the low speed. 1, 2, 3. 3 clicks for the high speed. Next, we're going to write down the rebound settings. To get to the rebound dials, we have to unscrew this cap, put it on the side. We have our high speed and low speed, okay? So let's start off with the low speed again. Turn it counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Do not overturn it or you might damage it. So don't force the turn. 6. And then the high speed. 1. Yep, just 1. High speed is 1. Next, we take a 2 millimeter Allen and we are going to remove our dials. Grab that one, and then once you follow, put them on the side. Next, we remove our nuts. We need a 15 millimeter socket on the damper side, a 10 millimeter socket on the air spring side. Okay, so let's start with the damper side. So we're going to take it and loosen it. A little bit stiff. Let's take a nut. Put it on the side for now. Then we're going to take our tool. We're going to insert it 4 full turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to take a mallet and we're going to separate the shaft from the lower leg. There we go, just like that. And then you're going to repeat the same to the other side, but for the other side you need a 10 millimeter and you're going to need the 8 millimeter, I believe, to separate the shaft. Next, take your fork, put it in the oil pan and separate the lower from the upper. It might be a little bit stiff. Ooh, that is nasty looking. Ooh, boy. That's some seriously nasty looking oil, folks. All right, I'm going to let this drain for a bit and we'll continue when I get back. One little tip, before we work on the lower leg, we're gonna have to place the upper on the side. Put some paper towel on the damper side if you're gonna lay it down. Don't stand it, well, you could stand it up. Just make sure you put paper towel on both sides, really, because oil will drip out and it will pool up. There's actually quite a bit of oil that stays on the walls and it will drip out, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the foam rings. I'm assuming this was worked on at one point in the past. Come on, man, come on. There we go. All right. Why is everything so brown? Okay. Then we remove the wipers. Now we got a couple of options. One, you could use a plastic coated tire lever tool. This does work great, although I gotta admit, on a table, it's challenging like this. Put it on the ground and then put your weight on top of it. If you use a wrench, make sure you don't chip your fork, right? So this really does a good job at preventing that. The only thing is, on a bench like this, it's a little bit harder because I just don't get leverage. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Or I came across this tool. I haven't used it on a 38 yet. It's from Red Side Custom Tools. No affiliation with the guy, by the way. Doesn't know I exist outside of, I guess, buying his stuff. So the way it works, this is to safely take out wipers if you want to reuse them. I'm not going to reuse these, but just to show you, let's see how it works. I haven't used this tool on a 38 yet, right? So you got to basically screw it down. Then when we put it in, sink it in, and then it's got to open up underneath, okay? And make sure that the wings are sitting underneath the wiper. And then this is the only pain in the butt part, screwing all this down. Actually, now that this is new, it's actually moving pretty good, but I have to use them a few times, not as quick. And then we thread this down until the end. Okay, make sure there's no slop. Like right now there's slop. Again, look how much, this definitely takes more time than one of these things. There's no questions asked. And this, the other pain in the butt is screwing this. I wish this had more of a quick mechanism.
3 weeks later.
So make sure it covers the wiper evenly until it can't go down anymore. Just like that. Take out all the slop, make sure there's no slop. There we go. Now we're at the end, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn this counterclockwise. Whoa. Well, that doesn't sound good. I mean, something's happening, that's for sure. You're lifting it? Yeah, lifting it. Oh, that was jammed in here pretty good. There we go. It is out. Clean lower legs, I got my little ritual over here, which includes a wooden dowel, rubber band, paper towel, and alcohol. I had a few people ask me, can they clean this out with water? And I'm like, well, technically, yeah. But where are you going to put the oil, man? I mean, you don't want to put this stuff down a drain, guys. Don't put it in a drain. Don't put it outside, right? This, at least, I could collect the oil, put it in paper towels, throw it in the garbage, and it's going to go to a controlled landfill. That's the goal over here, not put it down drains or put it outside in the yard, right? So first thing I'm going to do is plug the hole with my finger at the bottom. We're going to spray a good amount of alcohol in this one because, guys, this is pretty bad in here. And then we're going to try and break up that oil off the walls. Just turn it this way first. Okay, now let's turn it upside down and clean the seat over here so we don't bring in more dirt now before we repeat what we just did. Okay, let's do this one while I'm at it. Cool. So let's do that again with the alcohol. There's a little hole over here. Try and get it in that hole too, just in case. It might be blocked with crud. And when I mean the hole behind the bushing, you'll see it. Let's pour this one out the bottom. While that drains, let's prep our paper towel. So leave about 1.5 inches above. Loosely roll it, very loosely roll it. Grab our rubber band, tie it in the middle. Now we're going to tear off some paper towel to create like a mop. Some alcohol in here again. Go down there, bring it to the bottom, let it soak up, turn it counterclockwise first to get that mopping action going. Okay, and then we're gonna go up and down. The goal to go up and down, God, man, this thing's dirty inside, is to also get the dirt that might be stuck on the edges of the bushings. Yeah, man, this is nasty. Okay, we are obviously gonna redo that. Usually 2 times is more than enough. Some fork like this might need 3 times. So once again, paper towel, leave about 1.5 inches on top, loosely roll it, pinch it in the middle with the rubber band, tear where the rubber band is, create a mop, spray, and go in there, let it soak up at the bottom again, and scrub. Okay, this one's pretty dirty. I'm gonna have to go in there a 3rd time without a doubt. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna repeat the same to the other side, and you're gonna repeat it until it comes out clean. We don't want any dirt or any of the sand debris in there, because that's literally like sand, folks. So again, just repeat it until it's clean. I will be back. Now that everything's all clean inside, we're gonna inspect the bushings. There's 2 sets, one down here and one up here. Point it to the light and have the light like reflect onto the bushings. So what we're looking for is scratches, wear, gouges. This one's got wear. Not the end of the world, but there's definitely wear on it. I'm just looking at the, yeah, this one's got wear down here pretty good. Over here. All right, the top ones look okay. I mean, there's a little bit of wear going on, but not the end of the world. Still usable, no deep scratches, no like major scuffs. So let's put this on the side for now. Next, what we're gonna do is grab your foam rings from your 50-hour kit, a small container, put 20 weight oil in it, right? The 20 weight gold. Put a good amount because we're going to use it later for the lower leg anyway. We're going to need for this one here, I believe it's 20 cc's on one side only. Grab your foam rings, squish them in there. Okay. And then let them soak. Cover the top, put it on the side. And next up, we are going to work on the air spring. For the air spring, we're going to start with removing the top cap, 32mm chamferless socket preferred. If you have a beveled socket, one with an angle over here, then make sure it doesn't have too deep a bevel because you could strip this, right? So flat socket preferred is probably going to be a good crack. Might be a little bit hard. There we go. Yep, got it. Take it, remove it, 3 tokens, put it on the side. So I'm not sure how well this is gonna come out. If you could see it, woo, there's oil coming out the other side, great. But this is moisture. That's water, that is not oil. So stay on top of your service. So this air spring has a tube inside. To remove that tube, we need to remove this retaining clip. This is sort of like a keychain, okay? Not sure if you can see that well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a flat pick if you have one, or just a pick. Now, one side is angled. We wanna go underneath the angled side and lift it up just like this, okay? Be careful over here. It's a weird angle for me. I'm trying to record it. Just go underneath the lift. Oh, come on, why are you being so difficult? Because it's a really weird angle for me. Let me try to do it like this where I got a little bit more leverage. Hopefully you can see that clearly. Come on. Just watch out for your shaft. Why is it not going underneath? Okay, there we go. Be careful here. Just walk it out slowly. It'll come out. And there we go. Now take it and put it on the side. And now, this might be a little bit hard because it's not just a shaft, it's a whole tube that we need to remove, and it's got seals at the top over here. In fact, this tube, oh, there you go, I got it. So this might be a little bit hard. Wow, look how nasty that looks, man. I swear to God, this stuff looks like it has sand in it. So it might be a little bit hard. Expect that, okay? Because of these seals, and this seal actually, that keep it in there. I cleaned the outside of the air spring tube for now. First, let's start off with cleaning the inside of the upper leg. So, grab some alcohol. First, what I'm gonna do actually is, let's start off with the alcohol. A good amount of alcohol on this one, that's for sure. Let's start off with cleaning the seat for the spring, just in case dirt got trapped in there. We do not want to scrape dirt through. Go in there with your fingernail. Okay. So now what we're going to do is take a paper towel, bunch it up into a ball, sink it in there, grab a wooden dowel, slowly push it through. Wow, nasty. Well, that cleaned it up pretty good, actually. In fact, I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, now what we're going to do, turn it over, upside down, and let's clean the threads upside down in the whole area over here for the top cap. That looks good. Let's put it on the side. Before we work on the air spring, open up your seal kit, line everything up by size to make it easier to find the seals you need. For the air spring, we have to move the shaft from the tube. To do that, we're going to need a 10mm soft jaw hole, 12mm wrench or Knipex or adjustable wrench, but 12mm crowfoot later to torque it down, and we're probably going to need heat. So in order to remove it, we're going to have to remove this base nut first. We're probably going to need heat, so there is an O-ring on it. So instead of burning this O-ring, let's try and squish it, get underneath it. Come on. Look at this thing. There we go. Don't tear it. We need it to figure out what size we need. Okay, then we're going to grab some alcohol, put it on the shaft, get any grease off of it, put it in the soft jaw hole, again 10mm. Don't over tighten it. Let's see if we need heat. Yep, it's turning. Yeah, we're going to need heat. So let's heat it up. Now let's try it a little bit tighter, and there we go. All right, near the top, getting easier. Do it by hand. A lot of Loctite red in there, obviously. There's a seal in here we need to change as well. Let's just put these two on the side together. Okay, then let's remove the air spring. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push the whole spring through. Okay, now this one obviously has negative pressure in it. There we go. Now if it doesn't make it to the end, because this is so long, we're going to have to use a dowel. There we go. Nice and dry. Oh well, let's start cleaning and changing seals. First, let's start off with the base nut. Let's remove all the Loctite red that's on there. That came out pretty easy, all dried up. Now let's remove the O-ring. There you go. Okay, let's clean it. This fork is in pretty bad shape. Well, we're going to make it somewhat like new. Okay, so this thing has two seals. All right, so that's obviously that one there, out with the old, in with the new. And we have this thin one, is obviously that one there, out with the old, in with the new. Grab our saran butter. So the thicker seal goes where the thin threads are, the thinner seal goes where the thick threads are, right? So we're going to take a little bit of butter and start with the thicker seal on the thin threads. Oh, there we go. No, down. All right, so let's seat. And a little bit of butter, and we're going to put the thinner seal on the other side. Goes into its seat right there, just like that. Let's leave this on the side for now. Next, let's work on our shaft over here. Start off by cleaning all the dry, man, there's a lot of dry grease on here, really. Okay, let's remove the quad ring. If I didn't know better, I'd say somebody used dynamic grease on this. Okay, and could remove this just to clean it all real well. Let's clean the seat real good. Oops. Any dry grease and dirt from off the seat. See if we get this in here. There we go. Good enough. Let's put this back on there. Clean the bumper. All the old dry grease off of it. Let's put the bumper back on. Okay. Our seat is clean. Let's grab some grease, fill up the seat. Now, this is obviously the new quad ring. Put some grease on it. Let's install it. Do not twist it. See, it is twisted. Make sure it does not stay twisted. Actually, I think I just untwisted it. Yep, by squeezing it. Cool. Always double check quad rings. Make sure they are not twisted. Let's put this on the side. So now we got to clean the inside of this thing. A little bit tricky. You're going to need a dowel for that. One of these guys down here. What we're going to do, squish it down there, twist it. Okay. And grab a smaller dowel from the other side. And I'm going to do it one more time. I'll be back when I'm done. Now that's what it's supposed to look like inside. Perfectly clean and absolutely no scratches. This is the tube for this particular fork that we do not want any scratches inside the tube. The outer tube or the stanchion, it doesn't really matter on this fork. But this tube, this is in great condition. I don't see any scratches whatsoever. One more thing to clean before we finish that guy up is in here there's Loctite Red. If you happen to have one of these brushes here, try and go in there and clean the Loctite Red, the old Loctite Red from the threads. Cool, that is good. Yep, let's put this on the side for now. So here we have 4 seals, 1, 2, 3, and a hard one on the inside, the green one over here, okay? So let's start with that one since that's the more difficult one. So what we're gonna do is, this is a skirt seal. Okay, so we need to find a skirt. There we go. All right, nearly there. There it goes. So the skirt faces downwards, right? Let's put that on the side. Now, let's go in there and clean that seat, at least on this fork, because right there. So let's go in here. Much better. Inspect the bushing. The bushing looks good. Now we need to put in this seal. Put some grease on it. Make sure the skirt's facing you. Okay. Right below the bushing's a seat. Make sure we're tucked in the seat. Just like that. Whoop, had it. Okay. Oh, I had it and popped out. Again, this is a challenge, folks, but this skirt seal takes a beating. And I have no idea when the last time this thing was changed. So press against it like that. Now let's tuck it in. There we go. Oh, might need another seal. I mean a pick. There we go. We are in. Yay! Hail the conquering heroes. So I let the camera cool off a little bit before we tackle this next seal, which is a quad seal underneath the skirt seal. Now, what I should have mentioned before we started the skirt seal is that you can make your life way easier by removing this top cap from the tube. The problem is you're going to need a soft jaw hole that's 32.3 millimeters, give or take, round, in order to clamp onto it so we can remove this top cap. And I'm willing to bet 99.999% of you do not have a soft jaw clamp of that size, and you don't want to do damage on this thing. You don't want to squish it, because if you squish it, well, your piston's not going to go up and down easily, okay? So if you happen to have a soft jaw for an X2 reservoir, well, that's real close. That's just about the same size. That will absolutely work. But we're going to do this without a soft jaw hole. Again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Now, the reason I did the skirt seal first, if we were to take out both the skirt seal and the quad seal, the quad ring underneath it, and we put in the quad ring and it slipped into where the skirt seal is, well, you could damage that quad ring taking it out, and vice versa. If we were to take both of them out and put the skirt seal in and it happened to fall in place where the quad ring goes, that guarantee you will damage trying to take it out to put it in the right spot, right? So now that we have the skirt seal in the right spot, it's going to be a little bit safer for us to put the quad ring in because it is more pliable. So first we need to remove the quad ring, and again, it's under the skirt seal. So if you can see that you have the skirt seal, you'll see like a little metal ring, and underneath that it's a little black space. Go in there with a pick and it will come out. And there we go, right? So there is our quad ring. So here's our new quad ring. Now what we're gonna do, put a little bit of grease on it. Now this is gonna be the tricky part. We're gonna do the same thing we did before, okay? So usually we would start by sinking a ring, a quad ring, and trying to get the top part when we sink it in into the seat, and then we force up the bottom part, but we're not going to be able to do that here, right? So what we're going to need to do is sink in the bottom part to the seat first. So again, take your time over here, be very careful, grab a nice solid pick like we did before, sink it down, and then we put it in just like that, right? And then what you can do, now we got to hold it in place. Only problem is, so that is in, and we don't want to twist it. So there we go. So put pressure against it on that side, and then we are near. Oop, come on. Did it slip out? Yep, I think it slipped out. Oh, actually one side slipped in, but the other side slipped out. Wrong. Do it again. Again, this is going to take you a few shots, guys. You might get lucky and get on the first shot, but chances are you're not going to be all that lucky. And again, it's a lot easier if you just take off that top. And I mean a lot easier. We'd be done already. Okay, bring it up. Now let's grab it and try and sink it in just like that. So I'm in the seat now, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this plastic pick. I might change picks over here. Let's use this one to hold it down like that, and then we're going to use this one to sink it in. Yep, that's going to work. So I make these plastic picks where I grind a groove in them. Just makes it easier for these scenarios. And I'm in. Now let's make sure we're not twisted, and we are not twisted. Again, this is much easier if you remove the top, but make sure you get a clamp that fits well, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, but fits well. We do not want to crush this tube or else that tube is done. And when it comes to torquing this back down, it's 6 Newton meters to torque it back down into the tube. So then we have seal down here. Let's clean all the old gunk off of it. This is this seal over here. Put some grease on it. Old one out. And we have 2 identical seals on top. 1, 2. Clean the seats. Actually, this whole thing is covered in that brown crap. Okay. There we go. Let's find the replacement seals. That's got to be these 2 over here for sure. Yep. So let's put a little bit of grease on them for now. I'll put more grease on them later. Number 2. And since we're here, we have our top cap. Let's clean it. We have a seal on top. Don't mix them up. Let's clean the seat here. And this one has to be the big one here. Yep. Out with the old and with the new. Put that on there. I'm going to clean the tokens. When it comes to putting them back in, you're literally just going to slide them in just like that, okay? I'll be back. To assemble it, we have to put the air spring inside the tube. Now, to do it safely, we're going to need a bullet tool because we do not want to take the chance of this sharp edge, well, damaging the skirt seal that we just put in there, okay? So, for starters, what we're going to do is we're going to take some grease. Don't put too much grease, right? And put it around the seal head. Crying out loud. Okay, a little bit more, too much. There we go. All right, and then let's take some grease, put it up down put it on our shaft. Okay, now what I'm going to do also, I'm going to put some grease on top over here. Actually, let's prep this side too. So let's take some grease, put it over here for now. And then what we're going to do, what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this. I filled up 4 cc's of 20 weight gold from where our foam rings are soaking. I'm going to use 1 cc on this side. We're going to need 3 cc's on the other side when we're done. So I'm just going to put 1 cc on this side. That should do it. Right there. And I'll put a little bit more grease. All right, so now I'm going to put my bullet tool in there. We're going to grease the bullet tool. So the way this works now, we're going to put it through. You got to find the hole. Yeah, I found it. And then pop our spring through. It's going to be a little bit stiff and slippery. Oh, great. Wow, that's really stiff. Why is it so stiff? That shouldn't be that stiff. Damn it. New quad ring. Come on, get in there. I can't, it's slippery. I can't grab. Let me clean off the side over here. I'm probably going to go through the same thing. I can't get a good grip on it. Okay. Now, let's try and push it through. That's not great. That's not what I wanted to happen. Wrong. Do it again. Let's put this in. Yeah. Find the hole. And there we go. Crying out loud. Push it through. And we are good for now. Before we put it in the upper tube, we need to, well, put the base stud back on, right? So we're going to need a Loctite red 12 millimeter, well, wrench, at least a 12 millimeter crowfoot with a torque wrench to torque it down, okay? So pull it out a little bit. If you can't pull out your shaft because of negative pressure, screw in the base nut, fine threads, by the way, not the thick threads. Don't do the thick threads on the shaft. And then what we're going to do is pull it out until we hear it equalize. There we go. Go back and forth. And this works when you're on your bike. If you have negative pressure, all you need to do is extend your fork, folks, until you hit that equalization port, and both sides are going to be equalized, okay? So now that we're here, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this off. Let's mount. Actually, let's have my greasy hands all over it. Let's mount this guy back up to the 10 millimeter. Okay. Then again, fine threads. We're going to take a couple of drops of Loctite red. Just like that and like that. Don't overdo it. Let it sink into the threads. Blow it in there if you have to. All right. Let's screw this in. Now it's getting a little bit. Actually, we're doing good. So now we're close to the end. Okay. Torque wrench, 4.5 Newton meters. Nope. I gotta go a little bit tighter. And there we go. 4.55. Perfect. Let's make sure we don't have any Loctite red that came out. And now we're ready to put it into the upper tube. Put some grease on. That's a little bit too much, but the O-rings out here. Okay. My hand a little bit so it won't be as slippery. Now, what you can do, just make it a little bit easier going in. We got to sink it all the way down to the top and expose the seat for the seal, the ring. For the ring, we need to split it just like this, right? Put it in, and we are going to sink one side in, and then walk it around. Oops, walk it around until it all sits in, just like nearly there. Oop, damn it. Only got that little bit left. Get in there. Thank you. Let's try and pull it out. And we're not pulling it out. Next, let's inject the 3 cc's of oil into the air spring. Then take your top cap. Screw it in by hand first, always by hand first. Okay. And then at the end, torque wrench, 24 Newton meters. There you go, 25, a little hot, 20, well, not too hot, but 25.5. I think it's supposed to be 24.8 anyway, so we're not all that far off. And actually before we're done, let's do one more thing. Let's take our air pump. And let's put in about 20 PSI for now. All right, there we go, 20 or 30 PSI, good enough. Put it in there for now. And we are officially done with the air spring. Next, let's work on the damper. For the damper, the first thing we're going to do is remove our dials. 2 millimeter Allen, counterclockwise. Oops, thought I had it. And they should both pop out. Be careful. I believe there's a detent ball under here. Yes, there is. Right over there. So take this whole mechanism and put it on the side with the screw. Next, if your top cap is dirty, clean it before we try and remove it. We want a good clean connection because it's not like we got a lot of meat here to work with, right? So, okay, so now 28 millimeter chamferless preferred socket. Again, if you have a chamfer socket, be very careful. If it's too much of a chamfer, I wouldn't do it. Wow, this one was loose. Holy cow, this one wasn't even tight. Oh my God, look, this oil's still coming out. Jeez. the end. And that is our damper. Set it on the side. Just like with the air spring, let's clean up the upper tube first so we get all that oil out of there so it doesn't keep on spilling all over the place. Put alcohol in there, grab a paper towel into a ball, slowly push it through. And I'm going to do it one more time, but it's clean. We don't have to worry about scratches on this side, but one thing you should do since we're here, clean the threads real well and the seat. Next, we work on the damper. We're going to start off by emptying out the oil, and we're going to remove the seal head first to do that. We're going to need a soft jaw hole that's around 22 to 22.5 millimeters, around 7/8, okay? So clean your shaft real good, put it in there, lock it down tight, grab a 20 millimeter wrench, Nipex adjustable wrench, but 20 millimeter crowfoot to torque it down later. And then this might be a little bit tight. There we go. All right. Cool. All right, there we go. So what we're going to do, should have put the oil pan underneath. Wow, look how nasty this stuff is. I mean, if this was, it's definitely not 4 weight. This was 5 weight, which is, well, basically like translucent. Okay, well, let that sit in there for now. And then, oops, move this out of the way. Ooh, this stuff stinks. Holy cow, man. It smells like death. Wow. Folks, I don't know if this has ever been serviced. That's pretty bad. I am going to let this drain before we move forward. I'll be back. When it comes to disposing oil, especially nasty stuff like this, don't put it down the drain. Don't put it in the sink. Don't put it outside. Don't put it in the garbage. Don't put it in the sewer. Boy, this stuff stinks. Put it in a bottle that clearly states danger. Don't drink. Give it to your local bike shop or auto shop. They will know what to do with it. Next, we're going to remove the compression stack. But first, let's put paper towel inside so it doesn't drip oil all over the place. Stuff stinks so nasty for some reason. Then make sure you have a clean soft jaw. And also, oh, one thing to mention before I forget, do not clamp when removing a compression mechanism from a grip damper. Do not clamp it from within 6 inches of the top, okay? Because you will crush the piston that's in there. So give yourself at least 7 inches. Go like near the middle. Clamp it down good. And then we're going to grab our 28 millimeter and loosen the top. If you're screwing this out, if you're clamped in there and you're having a tough time, that means you've clamped too high. Okay, so that's a good way of knowing where you stand. A lot of threads here, by the way. There we go. All right. Let's move this thing, put it on the side, and that is our main parts. First, let's start with cleaning the main body to get it out of the way, right? So take a little bit of alcohol, spray it inside, grab a paper towel, bunch it up into a ball, stuff it in there, nice and tight, and then grab a wooden dowel, bring it all the way through. Take a look inside, make sure we have no scratches whatsoever. We cannot have any scratches inside this thing. This thing is in good condition, no problems at all. So at this point, you just clean the outside a little bit. Grab paper towel again, get all that old grease off of it, and we are gonna put it on the side. Next, we're gonna work on the compression stack. We're gonna mount it on the flat jaws using 2 flat sides over here at the bottom, okay? So just put it in there, squeeze it together. Make sure you're in there solidly. And then straighten it out. Grab a 3 millimeter Allen. And we are going to loosen this top bolt over here. And, oops. All right. A bit of a crack because it is. There we go. Be careful with it. Take out the screw. Be careful. There's a spring underneath with a shim. All right. Let's do the rest by hand. So there is our bolt. The spring is on the bolt. Let's put it like that on the side. Then we're going to take our shim. Okay, it's just one shim. Put that on the side. Then we're going to take our piston. Be careful over here. There are shims underneath the pistons. So there are two sides. Actually, no, on this one here, they're both the same. Nope, they're not the same. So the smaller triangles face up. The larger ones face down, right? So we're going to put it this way. So this way, the smaller ones face up. Now we got our shim stack. Okay, so be careful over here. We got multiple shims. Okay, I'll put them out in order and give you the measurements later when we put it back together, just in case yours falls apart. So I'm just going to put them like this for now, because look how dirty these are. My God, man. That oil, it just smells so nasty. Smell one. Oops, come on, get off my fingers. There we go. And then that is pretty much it, okay? And then we have our plate that goes on the bottom. And then we have our two VVC, well, butterflies, or whatever we want to call them. Let's put those on the side. Next, we have a little set screw we need to remove on the valve loader, right? That's a 2mm Allen. Let's take it, loosen it until the whole thing pops up. Oh, there we go. Let's take it. There's nothing underneath it. Put it on the side. And then we have our IFP, just separated from the piston. Now, this one is damaged. It is buckled. And the reason that is buckled, I'm positive, is because at some point, this thing was compressed so hard on a really, really hard hit that either it got trapped underneath the spring on the inside like that, or it actually bottomed out so hard that it forced a buckle. I do have a replacement. We will get into that in a bit. So let's take this, separate the bottom from the top. Oops. Wow. Why is that shim in there? Let's put this on the side for now. Let's put this on the side for now. And, hey, where's my picks? Forgot to bring my picks. So, we go in here. There are two sets of shims. It's three. So, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, always check with shims, and that should be it. We do have an O-ring in here that needs to be replaced. And then we're going to separate the spring. Now, next is an optional service. We can remove the shaft from the inside. I will do it, but I consider this optional. If you're not experiencing any leaks on top, you can save yourself a bit of a headache by skipping this portion over here. To remove the low-speed compression cap, first we need to mount it in an 8mm soft jaw hole. It's going to make your life a lot easier. 2, we're going to need picks, 2 picks that are small enough to go inside these holes over here in order to lift a C-clip. I highly recommend doing this with a magnet, because that C-clip could go flying, okay? So if you have a magnet, definitely use it, or figure out a way to cover this in order to, well, not have to go looking for a C-clip later. To make your life easier, grab this low-speed compression dial, put it in, and screw it all the way down to the fully clockwise position. There we go. I'm at the end. So now we're going to have more room for that C-clip to pop out, okay? So first thing, let's put a little bit of alcohol on here. Let's clean the shaft. So not that we have to hold it down hard. We're just literally holding it down, but why not? Okay, now where's the holes? There's one hole. Hopefully you guys can see that well. So first, I'm going to take one of these, and they've got to be very thin picks to fit in the holes, right? There you go. See the tip of the C-clip? It just popped up. So that's a good sign. The other hole is going to be at the other side over here. All right, let's see if I get this one to pop up as well. Bear with me. Oh, we got in there, so that's a good sign, although the other one just went back in. Right, so let's try and pop this out again. There we go. Okay, actually, there's the end. Find the end, okay? See if you can get underneath it, and then if you can get underneath it, it's a bit of a trick. Well, not trick, but, I mean, it's a bit of going back and forth, really. It's very uncomfortable doing this. I really don't like these C-clips. So it's a question of trying to get the right position, making sure that you could see the tip of the clip, which is right underneath. Well, it was there. There it is. Hopefully you can see that. Now let me see if I could align, hold both the magnet and this clip or this pick with one hand. Come on, man, give me a break. Just go in there. There we go. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is try and go underneath, scoop it up. Did it come up? There it is. Yay! I got it. So let's take the C-clip, put it on the side. Next, we're going to take the cap. We're going to unscrew it counterclockwise, the low-speed compression dial, and at a point, you'll hear it skipping, just like that. When it skips, that means it's all the way out, and then we could pull the whole thing out. Really, you don't need to pull out the shaft on the inside. There's nothing on it, but what we do need to change, well, we don't need to. Again, this is optional. If you're not experiencing any leaks over here, you really don't need to do this. But there is an O-ring over here, so we are going to change it, and that is basically it. Before we work on cleaning and replacing O-rings, open up the seal kit, line up the O-rings by size. It's going to make your life easier because some of the O-rings are similar sizes, okay? Now, as I mentioned before, this part over here is bad. It's a spring isolator, it goes on top of the spring. And if you look at it, I mean, you can see it there. There's cracks in it, it's bent, it's warped, it's in bad shape. Now, I will give credit where credit is due, and Fox deserves credit for this, in my opinion. They sell just this part individually. It only cost a couple of bucks. In fact, it costs more to ship it than to buy it, and I have absolutely no problem with that. Why? Because they sell just this part individually. Fox does an outstanding job, folks, in my opinion, on giving us the option to buy individual parts for the most part, as opposed to having to change out an entire mechanism if a simple part goes bad. Now, this isn't a critical part, but with other companies, I'm working on a couple of RockShox videos right now for their dampers, where RockShox recommends that the entire damper gets replaced because of one bad O-ring in the compression stack, which is total BS. Other companies are the same way. In my opinion, Fox is the only company out there that allows you to buy either individual parts or at least small assembly kits. Like, for instance, all these shims in one kit, right? So instead of, you could spend, let's say, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 bucks as opposed to having to spend 100 bucks, 150 bucks. So I gotta give credit to Fox, man. They do an outstanding job with that. I really respect it. And Fox, thank you for giving us all that option. So I'm gonna take the new one, I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna toss the old one out. So next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean the inside of this best I can. There is an O-ring on the outside over here that we need to change out. Let's pull that out. Let's put this on the side for now. We will change it in a bit. Considering how bad shape the oil was in this fork, I'm convinced that it was saturated in water or got water ingested. What I'm going to do is try and fit one of these things. Actually, I could probably do it easier this way. Actually, I'm going to make sure I can fit it through this way. Ooh, that's a close one. But I can do it this way. Yes, that's what I thought. So let's make this a little bit smaller. I'm just going to make a little ball, basically, and roll it up into a ball. I want to get any residue out of there. So let's just take that. Let's put it through. Be careful over here. Push it through to the other side. And boom. It's actually dirty. That's crazy. Let's grab the rest of this out there. Make sure we get all of it. Since I'm here, might as well clean the O-rings on the outside, or the threads on the outside for the new O-ring. Clean the seat for the O-ring. Okay, that looks to be pretty clean. Let's clean the top part on the inside here to make sure. There we go. That is good. Let's put that on the side. Let's clean this shaft over here. Now we have small O-ring over here. Small ones are always a pain in the butt. Squeeze it. Try and get underneath it. This is a stiff one too. Okay. Oop, nearly had it. Oop, nearly had it again. Let's see if we can do it this way. There we go. And there's our O-ring. Let's clean the seat. Okay, that's done. I'm gonna grab my Srab butter. First, let's start with the little one. We got the little one here. Find its equivalent, which is that one there for sure. Yep. Out with the old, in with the new. Oops, don't put that much butter on it. Okay. I'm sure this can be a bit of a pain in the butt, as they always are. Come on. And, oh, nearly had it. And it fell on the ground. And we got it back. Put it on the side. Now we have the larger O-ring. Make sure we get the right one. That is definitely this one here. Just put a thin layer of grease on it. Put it in its seat, which is right on top of the threads, just like that. Then we'll take it. We're going to mount it on the flat spots again. Make sure you get the flat spots. There we go. Now, grab our spring. Clean it best you can. Grab it, put it on top of the, make sure it snaps in basically when you put it down, right? So then we have our IFP over here. The IFP has two seals, one on the outside here, and then should be one on the inside at the top over here where the flat spot is. Should come out easily. There we go. Okay, let's clean seats. The inside, on the outside. Okay, let's find the replacements. So this one here is definitely this one at the bottom over here, out with the old, in with the new. And then this one here is definitely that one over there, out with the old, in with the new. Grab a little bit of grease. Let's put the inside one in first. Okay. Make sure it snaps in so it fell into the seat on one side. Then we could just grab a pick and sort of push it into the seat on the other side. Nearly there. There's one, and boom, done. Then again, a little bit of grease. And we will put this on the outside. Now, if you notice, the isolator over here has a smooth part, but over here there's a couple of like seats or steps. So the steps face the IFP basically. Okay, let's take it and snap it in just like that. Then we're going to take it and we're going to put it in just like that. That's how it should sit. Next, we're going to install the valve loader over here. Right now, inside here there's a set screw, and the set screw needs to fall into that hole over there. Okay, so we're going to have to press this down a little bit. Also, the set screw on the threads, we're going to put a little bit of Loctite blue. So let's start off with the Loctite first. Just one little dab, although with this thing, there you go, too much of a dab. Let me take some off of that. Actually, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. So grab our 2mm. There we go. Let's get it started until you see it coming out. Okay, make sure it doesn't come out basically. Let me wipe off Loctite. Let me put this back in there. Where is the hole? There's the hole. I will face the hole this way so it makes it easier for me to see it. Okay, there we go. So now, with the pin facing upwards, I'm trying to line up that screw. Let's push this thing down. Move it out a little bit and make sure we're lined up. Don't force anything. Oops, make sure you don't get your gloves trapped. Don't force anything. It will go in there once you're lined up, just like that. And we're going to take it finger tight, just a simple finger tight. It's not even a Newton meter, this thing, okay? Just like that. Next, we're going to install these 4 shims. Whoever worked on this before, or if it came from the factory, they put those shims in the wrong spot. That's why it threw me off. It wasn't supposed to be underneath in the IFP over here. It needed to be on top here. So these are different sizes. The first 2 are going to be 0.3 millimeters. Okay, 0.3 millimeters. First one, 0.3 millimeters. The second one, 0.1 millimeter, and then again the fit in there, 0.1 millimeter. So this compression stack was never working properly. Then we're going to put our valves, our butterfly valves, or VVC valves, right? Let's clean them. Look at all that. Okay, So let's put one, and it only fits in one way. There we go. It's keyed basically, right? If you look at it carefully, it's not fully round. So let me just clean the old residue off. We are going to put this one right on top of it. Again, it's keyed, it should fit right in. There we go. Then let's clean the cap, or the VVC itself. Okay. Now, if you notice, there's a pin over here. Okay, and if you notice, there's a, well, slot over there. That pin needs to fall in that slot when we put this in. Okay, so make sure it falls in the slot. Right now I'm not in the slot, and now I am in the slot. Next, let's change the O-ring on the piston over here. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Let's take it out. Put it here for now. Let's clean this good with alcohol. Clean the seat real well. Okay. So, finest replacement, which is this one right there. Put a dab of saran butter on it. Let's take it, put it back onto its seat. That's the last of the O-rings here. Remember, the small holes face up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to clean the shims one by one. In this case, if yours weren't all that bad, don't worry about it. Okay, then just clean our bolt since we're here. So now we have everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount everything on this bolt, and then we're going to put it on top on the inside. So first, we're going to take our outer shim over here. Then again, the smaller holes, triangles, face the outside. The inner ones face down, right? So then we're going to take the large shim, second largest shim, third largest shim, third largest shim, and then the smallest shim. And then grab my 3mm. We're going to take this, we're going to put it in just like that. Screw it down by hand first. Now the one thing we need to make sure when we screw this down is we do not want to pinch anything, right? This shim up here needs to float. So screw it down by hand as much as we can first. There we go. Make sure it's in the middle. Grab your 3mm again. Now this is technically around 2 Newton meters, right? So I have a torque wrench that goes this low. It's just not very tight, just a bit of force, like a finger tight basically, but I'd rather be precise with this. Again, let's make sure that we are floating. Yes, we are floating, we are good. So I'm going to take my torque wrench, should be set to 1.9 Newton meters. Yes, it is. I'm going to take it and boom, 1.91. Beautiful. Let's test it one last time. Make sure that we are not pinched and I am floating all the way around. Next, remove it from the vise. Let's grab our low speed compression, put a little bit of grease on the shaft, just like that. Okay, let's put the top dial on. I'm gonna grab it, sink it in. And again, we got to screw it all the way down to the bottom so we have space. Grab the low speed compression knob, screw it all the way down to the end. There we go, I'm at the end. Yep, I'm at the end. Let me make sure I'm at the end. Yes, I'm at the end. Okay, now grab your C-clip. Like I said, I should have done this before. And just, this one's not all that bad. And just take it and sink it in. Might take you a couple of shots over here. Right, sink one side in and then just try and force the other side in. If you have a flat pick, this should help. All right. Come on, get in there. Oh, nearly had it. And there we go. Yep, it is in. So now we can test it. Let's take it, bring it in a fully open position. It should stop at the C-clip. There we go. Now we are in the fully open position. Sweet. Our compression stack is done. For the rebound shaft, we're going to need a 10mm soft jaw hole. So the first thing we need to do is remove the piston assembly here, right? There's a 2mm bolt and a 15mm. You're going to need a cone wrench. Now for the cone wrench, there's only 2 spots you could get it from, right? So 2 little flat spots opposing each other. So remember that. So the first thing we're going to do is let's clean the shaft. Try and get any grease off of it. Then let's put it in the soft jaw. Make sure I can see that 2mm. Now let's just grab this 2mm and loosen it, right? Just loosen it. Now let's try and find our 15mm. Where are you? Can't see it. I can't see it. Where are you? There we go. In my imagination. Oh, I was going to say what's going on here. There we go. Now let's take it. Let's loosen it. Be careful over here. The whole mechanism is going to want to come out. We're going to grab it from the bottom. And pick the whole thing out. So there's a whole bunch of stuff under here, right? So you got one, we got a cone spring. The wide part faces the shim. We got our shims, and I'll stack these in order. I'll put the numbers later when we assemble it, just in case yours falls apart. Okay, small one, big one. We have our piston. We have a shim. Actually, that's one part, right? So that's the bottom part of the piston. This part faces up. Okay, and then we have, well, our rest of the assembly, basically. Actually, I'm going to put it like that. And we have our butterfly valve and basically the top part. Next, we're going to need heat and a 12mm wrench. So we need to remove this stud over here, okay? So let's take some heat. There's Loctite red in it. So just heat it up a little bit. And then pull this tight, don't over tighten it, counterclockwise, and there we go. Let's take it and put it on the side. Next, let's remove the needle. Let's pick it up, might be a little bit stiff. Pick the whole thing up, just like that. Let's put this on the side for now, just like that. And let's remove the shaft. Let's remove the seal head. Next, we're going to remove the detent ball and the spring over here. Make sure you have a magnet, okay? So 2mm Allen. Unscrew it counterclockwise. Make sure it's on a magnet, just like that. Take it out slowly, just in case. Boom. There we go. What am I missing over here? Is it my imagination, or is there a spring missing? Oops, I was going to say, then the internal shaft. That just threw me off, actually. But basically, if there's an internal shaft, just push it up and the whole shaft will come out. Okay, so let's leave that on the side, but that sort of has me concerned. Why doesn't this have a spring? I thought this had a spring. Oh, it does have a spring. It's over there. It got caught. There we go. So you should have a spring. Should have a spring, a ball, and obviously your set screw. And just take this and put it on the side for now. Next, let's take out this seal over here before we remove this base stud. Okay, let's put it on the side so we don't forget what side it is. Then let's clean the shaft one more time. A little bit of alcohol. Put it in the 10mm soft jaw hole. Okay, now, well, I should have showed it actually, but this is a 1/2 inch wrench or 13mm. Okay, so 13mm will work, a 12mm won't work. So basically put it in there. Again, it's going to need heat. Grab the 13 millimeter, make sure we're tight, and there we go. Done. Oops. And there is a base stud, and we have an O-ring in there. So let's put this with this O-ring. Starters, I'm going to start with cleaning the shaft over here. Put a little alcohol in it. And then grab a paper towel, ball it up, make sure it's nice and tight. And then grab a dowel that fits. Sink it all the way through. And we are good. Make sure the outside is nice and clean. Clean the threads. Clean any old red Loctite that might be on them. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, on the inside here, we have red Loctite that we should remove, and we have an O-ring. First, let's start off with the O-ring. Grab a pick right over there, if you can see that well. There is our O-ring. Let's take it, pick it up. Ooh, 2 O-rings. Oh no, that's right. Holy cow, nearly forgot. So at the bottom, there's actually a washer. Okay, in fact, there might be more actually. Is it 2 or 3? I'd have to double check. I don't remember top of my head for the 38 or the GRIP2 if it's 2 or 3. It's probably just 2. Okay, so we have the O-ring and the washer. Let's just leave them here like that. It's easy to put in, don't worry about it. So now we want to clean all that Loctite red that is in there. We need to remove it, right? So we're going to need, you could try and do it with something like this. If you happen to have something like this, grab a reasonably sized one. Go in there, remove it all. That actually worked out real well. In fact, let's do that. Let's grab one of these, a fresh one. All right, this base stud is clean. Let's clean the outside, make sure there's no debris. Okay, so now let's change the seal. Let's find its replacement. It's got to be that one there for sure. This one's old and brittle. Let's put a nice fresh one in. So first let's start with putting in the O-ring. Put some grease on the O-ring. Then the seat is right below the threads, right? So let's take it, tuck it into the seat on one side, and slowly push it in all the way around. And there we go. So that looks like it's sitting nicely. I'm going to grab a little bit of grease. Let's take these guys, let's put them all the way at the bottom. Make sure it's sitting in the middle at the bottom. Let's grab this one. Come on. And put that one on top of it. Should stick to the other one. This one's sitting good, is it? Why does it look like, oh, now it's sitting good. I knew something was off. It was off. Double check your O-ring, make sure it's sitting correctly, right? Okay, so our base stud, and this is the outside one. So let's change it. That's got to be it right there. Oops. Come on, dummy. Come on. Crying out loud. Put a little bit of grease on it. That goes on the outside at the base over here. Our base stud is done. Next, I'm going to clean and re-grease the detent ball. Now, this is optional, folks. You really don't have to do this, okay? Unless there's something wrong with your low-speed compression click. So this is the low-speed compression knob, and this is the high-speed compression shaft. To get this out, you're going to need a long, thin object. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to push this out, okay, just like that. And then grab something that's flat on one side and make sure it's flat on one side. And, you know, no more than 3 millimeters, I would say, maybe 4 millimeters max on this side. Now, when we push it out, there is a ball and spring on the end. Oops. Just make sure we push it out nice and evenly. So when it comes out, we want to make sure that the ball and spring don't spring out on us, right? So there we go. I just heard the spring and ball come out. There we go. So it's stuck together. Yay, good. So basically, this is all there is. There's no seals in here, right, that I know of. Let me double check over here. But there shouldn't be any seals. Yep, there's nothing in here. So what I can do, what I'm going to do is clean the inside of this. The way I'm going to do that is basically, again, grab a small piece of paper towel, get some alcohol in there. Okay. Just bunch this up into a long pin until I'm able to get it inside. And then I'm going to push it out on this side. And done. It's a little dirty inside. I'm going to do that again and I will be back. And I'm back and it's all clean inside. So again, be careful with your ball over here. There is a spring over here. Let's take the spring out, put it on the side. You know, I'm just going to clean it off considering the condition this fork was in. You're going to get all that old residue out of here. Make sure we're starting fresh. Okay. That's just a ball, a spring. Might as well wipe the ball since we're at it. Keep on missing it. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to put it back together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of grease and we are going to put it in the hole over here for the spring to hold the spring in place and make sure it doesn't corrode. Or help it not corrode. Push the spring in there. Then we're going to put a little bit of grease on top. Let's take the ball, put it on top of the spring. Okay, so now when it comes to installing it again, the short side goes in first, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to put it in, but we have to be careful over here. Press in the ball and make sure that it goes in with the spring before we press it in. There we go, right? So now we push it down. Ooh, I did it backwards. My bad, my bad, my bad. Let's bring this out again. I knew I was missing something. Okay, so let me put a little bit of grease on it. It's the other way around. The long part goes in first. There you go, that makes more sense. Stuff happens, folks. Remember, press the ball in, and then press the whole shaft in. Grab whatever rod you were using. We're going to press it, or push it all the way down until it comes out the other side. Come on. Oh, and we can force it with this thing because anyway, it sits in this thing. And there we go. All right, so the only thing is going to try and stick into it. So now let's make sure we pull it out. Now when you turn it, you should hear clicks. Yay. So this part is done. And now let's work on the inner shaft. So what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew counterclockwise this rod from the inside until it comes out. Just be careful over here. There's no detents here, right? Yeah, they're not here, they're on the other side. So let's put this on the side for now. So we have two O-rings. One of them is right here and the other one is right here. So let's start with removing this one since we're here already. So give it a good squeeze, get underneath it. There we go. Thought I had it. This one is stiff, folks. Now, I really don't care which side you come out from, as long as you come out in one piece. There we go. Bring it to the other side. Let's lift it up over here. Should be easier. And boom. Let's find its replacement. I don't see its replacement. Interesting. I do not see, this is not a critical one anyway, but I do not see its replacement. It's definitely not. Interesting. That one is similar. Oh. I don't know what to do here, folks. I'm going to use the same one again. It's still stiff. It's not brittle in any way. I'm just going to put some grease on it. It is what it is. I know that the other one, the other small one that was above there was similar, but definitely it matched the first one I put in. So let's, what's the easier way I could put this in? Probably this way. That's my guess. Instead of having to go through all those threads. Let's put this in. Come on. Come on. There we go. And one more. Let's see if we can coax it over this ledge. Come. Careful with the rod again. Try and avoid using your body as leverage and try not to bend it with your hand while holding, you know? Come on, get in there. There we go. Okay, well, that's that one. So now we have this one here. Come on. Another stiff one.
Many months later.
There we go, for crying out loud. And get it off the top. Done. Yay, and I honestly don't see a replacement for that one either. Let's clean all this. Again, I'm going to clean the inside. Okay. Folks, I'm convinced that they don't give us, we should. I know I've changed these in the past. We should have seals for this. That is definitely not it. I mean, a similar diameter, but it's nowhere near the same thickness, right? And if I put this one in to replace it, I mean, this is the same size diameter-wise, but it is way, way, way thicker, and the inner diameter is way smaller on this one. So I'm questioning it. I'm going with the original again. Like I said, it's still stiff. Let's just put some oil to keep it nice and fresh. And now let's put it back in.
One eternity later.
This one is really, really, really stiff. I'm questioning if this is even the right O-ring for this, to be honest, because I don't ever remember this being this difficult. And it's not like this is my first GRIP2. In fact, I think I already have a video out on a GRIP2. Let's do it this way then. Let's try and... There we go. Crying out loud. I just might leave that like that. Phew, we did it. What we did, I have no idea, but we did it. So, grease. Let's put this back in. Okay. Now, we are going to screw this down. Put it in and screw it down. That takes care of that. I'm going to give the camera a break. Next, we're going to change the seal on the seal head. This is a skirt seal or a U-cup, and it's right at the top over here, okay? And the cup faces downwards like that. So let's grab a pick. Let's get in here. It's right here at the top. Go underneath it and just pop it out just like that. Watch out for the bushing. Okay. Let's clean this thing well. Boy, that seal sucked. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do, grab a paper towel. Let's go in there into the seat. Inside, inspect the bushing. Bushing looks okay. So now we have our U-cup over here. Again, the cup part faces down, so the flat part faces up, okay? So let's put a little bit of grease on the cup. Now, let's try and do it this way. Sink it in, and then we're going to sink in one side into the seat. Get it in there. Little plastic picks where you could carve out edges helps out a lot for these. Okay, so we want to sink it in just like that, all right? Try and sink a good amount of it in. And then we're going to go to the other side. Keep your finger, cover the other side with your finger, and then we're going to push this side down. And it's in. Now let's inspect. Let's make sure we feel the cup. So if you take a pick and you go down here, you should be able to feel the skirt part. And I feel it all the way around, so it is in as it should be. Sweet. One last thing. So now it's a question of cleaning up the rest. Again, I'm going to clean it all up because there is no seal in here. I'm going to clean it all real well because of the condition of the oil. See what I mean? Okay, it looks real bad. In all honesty, I would say that these shims need to get replaced. And something looks wrong. Usually these things have 3 shims. This is a different tune, that's for sure. But this shim, in my opinion, should get replaced, and I do not have an extra. I'll look for one, but I'm pretty sure I don't have an extra shim. Although I might. Depending on the size, I guess. So, small one, big one. I might as well clean this. We have over here our old glide ring. Toss to the side. The new one is in the bag over here. We'll put it in later. As long as we don't forget to put it in. Let's just clean everything. Let it all sit. Clean all of this. Get the old residue off. Be careful with your butterfly valve. And that's pretty much it. To assemble, first we're going to put the base stud onto the shaft. Okay, so before we do that, what we're going to do, we're going to need a 10mm soft jaw hole. So first we're going to take a little bit of Loctite. We're going to put it around, Loctite red. Okay, sink it in the threads. It's a little bit too much. Okay, now let's make sure the shaft is clean. Put it in there, give yourself a couple of inches. Okay, so then we're going to take the non-threaded part, obviously. We're going to take this part here, we're going to screw it in by hand first, all the way down. Then we're going to grab our 13mm, bring it around, and then torque wrench, 13mm, 90-degree angle, 4.5 Newton meters. Make sure you find, right, you find the edges. Where's the edges? I can't see. Where are the edges? That's got to be them right there. There we go. And got to do this tighter. There we go. Boom. 4.53. Then we're going to grab our high-speed compression rod and our low-speed compression rod. Now we need to put this in. So the way this works is there's a slot in here that fits into the other side of the low-speed compression knob, right? We're going to put it in, slide it all the way down, and this is sort of like a puzzle. Basically, when it fits in the bottom, these two are going to fit nicely into each other, okay? There will be a little bit of space. Just make sure you get them nicely into each other, just like that. So that is perfect, right? So there's going to be a little bit of space. If there's too much space, that's because your dials are in the fully open position as opposed to the fully closed position, right? Right now they're in the fully closed position the way we screwed everything in. So then what we're going to do is we are going to take the main shaft and we're going to put the compression dials, the rebound dials I should say, inside the main shaft, just like that. Oh, that's a bit of a tight fit. Oops, that's why it's a tight fit. Again, you got to be careful over here. See, I just popped out. Make sure it's aligned. Come on. Come on. Look at that. Why is it giving me a hard time? There we go. So now just give it a little bit of force to get that O-ring in, and boom, we are in. So then what we can do, grab a little bit of SRAM butter, put it on your skirt seal above here. Then we're going to install the shaft with threads facing upwards, right? So just put it through just like that. And wipe off any excess grease from the top. Next, let's assemble the piston. So we have the bolt basically, right? Then we have our cone wrench. Remember, the wide part faces up, the narrow part goes down just like that. So then we're going to put our small shim, then we're going to put our larger shim, right, just like that. Okay. And then the blades face the shims. Screw it together. This thing ain't good. Oh yeah, it's in good. So once we're in, then actually there's a little bit of Loctite red in there. Let me see if I can remove it. I should have did that before. Yeah, it's gone. Right, a little bit more on this side. Do it upside down so it doesn't fall on the shims. Perfect, it's all gone. Sweet. one less thing. So now we need to torque it, 7 millimeter on one side over here, okay? And then a 12 millimeter crowfoot, 90-degree angle at 3.4 Newton meters. Great, let's see if I can do it like this. Beautiful. Come on. There we go. Now let's try this again. The only thing is it fell in a bad angle for me. All right, and make sure I'm straight. Great. Not good. Let's try that again. It's a bit tricky over here. Damn it. Oh, for crying out loud. Why are you giving... There we go. Now I have it, and 3.4. Done, 3.42. Now, we need to make sure that the pistons are floating and they're not pinched. And they are floating. Next, we mount the piston onto the shaft. So for starters, let's clean the shaft, make sure there's no grease on it. We're going to take a little bit of Loctite red again, just a dab. Put it on the threads. Oops, too much. We don't need that much Loctite, folks. In fact, I'm going to take some off. That's a ridiculous amount. Let's get it off the shaft. Okay, that's pretty good. So now let's take it, put it in our 10 millimeter shaft or soft jaw hole. Give yourself a couple of inches from the top. Well, actually over here we don't really have to worry about it that much, but see if it looks better for the camera there. Then let's take our piston, screw it in by hand, all the way down by hand first. Then when you reach the end, torque wrench, 12 millimeter, 90-degree angle, 4.5 Newton meters. Find the edges. Where's the edges? There's the edges. Odd spot for me because of all the gear. And 4.56. Next, we're going to install the detent ball and spring. I could have done this on the previous step, before the previous step, but oh well, it is what it is. Let's do it now before the next step. So let's take the screw. The threads are closest to the 2 millimeter Allen. Then we're going to take a dot of Loctite blue. Let me do it with my good hand, considering this bottle pours out like crazy. Just a dot. That's all we need right there. Let's put that on the side. Now, we're going to use regular grease, not SRAM butter. We're just going to put a little bit inside the hole on top for the spring. Spring goes in here. If I could grab it. Okay. And just put a little bit more on top of the spring. So the ball, if I could grab that, sticks to it. And then we are going to install it. Screw it down until it is flush. Okay, just like that. Wipe off any blue Loctite. Feel it with your finger. It's not totally flush. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more. And there we go. Next, we're going to install and set up our high-speed rebound portion of the rebound shaft. So for this, we're going to need our high-speed rebound knob. We are going to need a feeler gauge that's 0.03 inches or 0.76, that's a typo, millimeters thickness. This, in my opinion, is an option. It's a torque wrench. It's a torque pen, technically, or a torque driver. We will get into that when we get to that portion of the job. And a 2 millimeter Allen in order to screw down the clamp, to clamp everything together. So the way this works, here we have a shaft. That shaft literally is our high-speed rebound shaft. If I take this high-speed rebound, you hear the clicks, this shaft turns, right? So the first thing we're going to do is install the parts. So we have this plate over here, which only goes in one way. It's keyed one way. There will be slop. We can't do anything about that. Then we have our leaf spring and our nut. The leaf spring is also keyed, okay? So if you notice on this portion over here, it comes across this clamp portion over there, right? And it keys in and I can't turn it sideways. Now, we could try and put these things together and install them, but it's hard. You don't need to. Put the leaf spring in first, right? And then we're going to put in our nut. Make sure the leaf spring's in there. screw in our nut. And then when we get to the base, or close to the base, what we are going to do is align again. That leaf spring comes out parallel over here with this clamp. Just try and lift it up a little bit. And you will notice that now I'm only touching the nut and it's turning the leaf spring. Well, it was. I still got to go a little bit deeper down, actually. There we go. So if I do it now, well, okay. So now I am, well, the leaf spring sitting in its slot in the nut, okay? So what I'm going to do to make my life easier now, actually, is I'm going to turn it this way. So the next step is we have to set the leaf spring pressure, okay? Or at least the pressure of this high-speed mechanism. So the way this works, again, like I mentioned, the high-speed rebound shaft turns, and we can screw into the nut. If I turn it, again, if I go counterclockwise, right, you'll notice the shaft comes up. It's pulling the nut down. If I go clockwise, I'm going to have more slop. Okay, so it's pushing the nut away from the leaf spring, essentially. So what we need to do at this point is grab our feeler gauge. And just to show you guys, I can literally screw this down where the nut won't move. I can literally lock it down. Like right now, it's like pretty locked down, right? We don't want that, obviously. I'm just showing you how this mechanism works to make it easier for yourselves, okay? So now what we do is we would grab a feeler gauge. And the feeler gauge goes in between the leaf spring and the bottom part of the nut over here, right? Now here, there's a lot of slop, okay? So there's two ways we can do this. But before we do that, I should have mentioned, the leaf spring, when we set this, needs to be in the middle, in between the two nipples over here, okay? So there's one nipple on top, there's one nipple on the bottom. We need to be in the middle of those two nipples. A good guide is this little notch over here. That's pretty much in the middle of both nipples over there, okay, for the most part. So keep the leaf spring there. And then we take our feeler gauge, we put it underneath and we feel. And right now this one's got too much room, right? So what I can do is turn it by hand, for instance, and bring it down. Turn it counterclockwise and it'll get tighter and tighter, okay? And right now I feel where it's definitely gotten a lot tighter. I don't have as much slop as I used to have, but always keep the leaf spring in the middle. So I tilt the device a bit so we can see both top and bottom. I have my 0.03 inch, 0.76 millimeter feeler gauge. I have my little torque driver over here. I have set it to 2 inch-pounds, which is technically 22.6 centinewton meters, which is 0.226 newton meters, okay? And I have a 7/32 socket on it. So we're gonna do this the Fox way first, all right? So what Fox says is, again, we need to make sure that the leaf spring is in the middle, right? So place it on top of that notch. We're in the middle of the two nipples over here, okay? And then we're gonna take our feeler gauge. We're gonna put it in between the leaf spring and the nut, okay? So then what we're gonna do is take our torque driver over here. I'm going to put on the high-speed compression knob and I'm going to keep on turning until it meets its spec. Right, nearly there. I can feel it getting tighter, and there we go. So now the gauge is tightly in, it's snugly in there, right? It's not super tight, but it is snug, very snugly in there, but we're not done yet. So we're going to remove the gauge, hold on to the nut still, make sure it doesn't move, and then we're going to take our high speed knob and we're going to click again counterclockwise, 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that's going to do is set the final torque value and essentially bring that to the start of your rebound dial setting, so the full close setting, okay? So then when we are done, we're going to take our 2 millimeter over here and let's clamp everything down so it acts as one mechanism. Right, just like that. Now if I turn the knob, should have 8 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So, do you need this torque driver? No, you really don't need this torque driver. Why do I say that? For starters, when it comes to low torque settings like this, finding consistency between tools alone is very difficult, man. 0.22 newton meters is very, very small, okay? And we could easily do that with our hand, okay? It all comes down, if you don't want to use the torque driver, you basically would use just a feeler gauge and the high-speed compression rebound knob. What you would do is, just like we did before, you would put the feeler gauge in between the leaf spring and the nut, and then you would turn the nut down, the high-speed shaft, until your feeler gauge is snugly in there, right? When I mean snug, I mean you're not just grazing it. You're going to have a good bite onto it. You're not going to be clamped onto it, but you're going to have a nice bite onto it, essentially, a nice snug bite. And then you're going to remove the feeler gauge. You're going to turn it 4 clicks, and you will be essentially where we are right now. Now, again, even with this tool, it doesn't mean that you're going to like the results, guys. We do have some flexibility. In fact, Fox even gives you a variance. We could be 2 inch-pounds plus or minus 0.5 of an inch-pounds, which is very significant when we're only talking about 2 inch-pounds. That's not a lot, right? So you might not like it like that. You might not like the setting with a 0.03 inch feeler gauge. It might be better for you with a 0.32 or a 0.35 feeler gauge or a 0.28 feeler gauge. You do have the ability to go in there and set this to what you prefer for your high-speed rebound. And again, this is only for the high-speed rebound. So hopefully that helps explain that one. So all that's left now is, well, let's remove the shaft. This is our old Teflon ring. We have our new Teflon ring. It's going to be wider, by the way. That's going to get set or pressed when we put it into the main shaft. First, we're going to install the rebound shaft onto the main tube. Let's clean it, clean the threads real well, right? So then don't make the mistake. This top part with the hole over here, that goes for the compression. The one without the hole is for the rebound. Grab some Loctite glue. We're going to put some on the top threads. Go halfway around, that's good enough. Sink it into the threads. Okay, and then we're going to take it into like a 22.2 or 22.5 millimeter hole. Okay. Screw that down. Now, I have the new, I don't need that yet. I have the new glide ring in there. Let's take it, squeeze it in. All right, make sure it goes in. Don't trap your fingers. There we go. Let's bring down the seal head, screw it in by hand. Make sure it goes in, there we go. And then, when we get to the end, torque wrench, 20 millimeter again, 17 Newton meters. Ooh, great spot. 17 on the money. For the bleed, let's prep. One, we have our torque wrench, 17 Newton meter. We have our 28 millimeter socket. We have a little bit of Loctite glue we are going to need. 4-weight oil or 5-weight Teflon. If you have it, you can still use it, but they move to 4-weight. We're going to mount the damper onto, again, a 22 millimeter or 7/8 hole. Make sure you put paper towel around it. Oil will come out. Make sure you got extra paper towels. You will need that. Now, when you mount it, make sure you could fully extend the shaft underneath, okay? Don't mount it to a point where the shaft doesn't fully extend. Put a pan underneath to collect oil, because again, oil is going to come out whether you like it or not. Wear your safety glasses when doing this. Absolutely wear your safety glasses, okay? So the first thing we need to do is make sure that our dial's in the fully open position. Take your compression, turn it fully counterclockwise. That one's fully open. Take your low speed compression, counterclockwise. That one's fully open. We are good over there, okay? So we are going to take our 4-weight oil, and what we're going to do is fill it sort of halfway. I can't really see, so I'm going to do this half blind because everything's in my way. That's not at the top. I'm sure I'm just pointing at the hole. Let's point away from the hole. There's a hole over here, right? And what we're going to do, slowly cycle the rebound in order to get oil underneath the rebound piston, or get the air out of underneath the rebound piston. Okay, the oil will go down as you do that. Slowly cycle it. Bubbles will come up. It's already down near the end. Let me put a little bit more oil. Oops, sorry for hitting the camera. Okay, let's do that again. Just do this until you do not see any more air bubbles popping up. Don't do it quickly, do it slowly, because if you do it quickly, it'll aerate and it's going to take a longer time for the air bubbles to make it to the top. That is sounding and looking pretty good right there. I don't hear any squishy noises. So we are good. Extend it all the way down to the bottom. Let it sit for about 30 seconds. So I let it sit. The only reason to let it sit is just so air bubbles can make it to the top before we fill it up, okay? So now we are gonna fill it up until we see a little bit of oil coming out of the bleed hole right there. Hopefully you guys can see that well. I'm blind right now, so I'm just gonna, oops. Oh, I see something. I'm nearly there. And there we go. So a little oil came out, okay? Close your oil. Make sure if you're using the bottle, close the bottle so we don't spill it. So now, paper towel. We need to insert this thing straight down. Do not insert it at an angle, okay? So we're gonna take the compression stack and we are gonna insert it slowly. Now, when we insert it, oil is gonna wanna jet out of here and jet out of the sides. So absolutely make sure you're wearing your safety glasses and ultimately use a paper towel. Do not block the holes, but cover everything. So, well, it doesn't spray all over you more than anything, right? So let me start it off. Hopefully you guys can see it a little bit while I start it off. I'm just going to push it down a little bit, right? Again, we want to go straight down, slowly but surely. Don't trap any paper towel. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to push it down again. Oil is going to want to come out, right? So don't block holes. Just cover the holes as we push this down. Okay, and there is that spring. It's going to be a good amount of force. Okay, so we're nearly there. Now what we're going to do, clean the threads. Okay, the piston is past the hole over here. So let's clean the threads. Take a little bit of Loctite blue. Put it on the top threads. Halfway around. There we go. Now once again, we're going to sink the whole thing through. Now use your cap over here. In fact, let me get a cleaner one. Use your cap, your socket over here to help you when you push it down and screw in. We're going to push it down slowly and screw it in at the same time. Remember to cover, to protect your face. Push it down and then try and screw in. Oil will keep on coming out as we're doing this, as we're screwing it down. That's normal. Good, I got the threads. Again, oil is going to keep on coming down. So now what we can do is, what does this feel? Oh, the ball came out. I was wondering why this feels like it's on an angle. Be careful, make sure your detent ball, you don't lose it. So that was for the high-speed compression knob. I'm gonna put that on the side. That feels better. Grab your ratchet, screw it down. Oil will keep on coming out. Hopefully you can see that well. A lot of threads over here. There we go. It just made it to the end. Now, also, I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Always stuff to remember. Do not clamp it within 8 inches from the top when inserting your cap, just like you don't clamp it from within 8 inches from the top when removing your compression stack, I should say, okay? Always clamp it after the halfway mark, right? Grab your torque wrench now. 17 Newton meters. Put it in here. Oh, we're gonna have to make this a little bit tighter. Up and up. There we go, 17.1. Cool. Now, to finish it off, we need to pick up the shaft, the rebound shaft, 3/4 of the way up. I adjusted the camera. We are going to pick up the shaft 3/4 of the way up, but block the bleed hole because oil will want to come out, okay? We're basically removing excess. Oh, I'm too tight over here. Make sure you're not too tight on your damper shaft. Clamped in. Block your bleed hole. Well, don't block it, but cover it just in case, right? There we go. Now bring it up. You're going to feel force just about there, 3/4 of the way up, right? That is good. Cool. Next, let's test it. To test it, we're going to use our dials. Let's start off with the low speed. High speed, you're not really going to feel it. Low speed, you should feel a little bit more resistance. So basically, if I go up and down, do this vertically, right? So go up and down. Don't go all the way. Just go max halfway. even a quarter away should give you a good idea. So again, some oil might come out on top if you go too far down. Grab your low speed compression. That was in the fully open position. Let's bring it to the fully closed. You're not going to hear the clicks yet. We have to put the high speed compression dial to hear these clicks. Bring it to the end. Lock it down. Oh yeah, there's definitely more pressure over there. Not much more, but you'll definitely feel it, right? So let's put it back into the fully open. Okay, yeah. There we go. Oh yeah. So again, high speed, you're not going to feel it as much. You're not going to feel it all because this has to be real quick impacts in order to be able to feel it, right? So, I mean, there's a little bit of extra pressure. Let's just try that again. Yeah, a little bit. You can feel it. Not all that much. Low speed rebound. High speed rebound, again, you're not going to really feel the high speed rebound that much. It's going to be a little bit. But low speed rebound, I need my 2mm. We need to connect the knob. Get it on the flat spot. Right now it's in a fully open position, right? Yep, fully open. So let's bring it to the foot. I had that down there. Let's bring that down, make sure we connect it right. Not too deep, fully closed. And, oops, I went too high. Oh yeah, that's definitely, again, this you will absolutely feel the difference. So, cool. Folks, it looks like we are well bled right now. Finish the dials. One, we have our detent balls, right? One's over there, one's on the inside. We do have a blue seal on each dial, or blue skirt seal, I should say, on each dial. So let's take that off. Be careful with the ball over here. Take that ball out. Take that ball out. Okay, and then spray it well. Let's clean the inside well, get all that dirt and mud out of there. Get it out from the seat. And then let's get it out from the inside over here. Or the inside, I should say. Take a pick going to the corners if it doesn't come out easy. This way there won't be as much grinding. See what I mean? Doesn't look like it's much, but it's actually more than you would think. Okay, there is a spring in here. We could take it out if we want. In fact, let's take it out. There's a pick. Okay, so we could put fresh grease. There's spring in this one. Should be a spring in this one too, I believe. Totally forgot about that. Okay, see, this one's already starting to sort of rust. So again, let's clean that out on the inside to remove that rust. And then we're going to put fresh grease in there in order to protect the spring. Come on, man, give me a break. This fork has definitely been a bit of a challenge at times. Okay, so now what we're going to do, actually, let's clean our ball and springs before we forget those, especially this one that has a little bit of surface rust on it. Not the end of the world, it's still okay. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a little bit of regular waterproof grease, not SRAM butter. We're going to put it in the hole for the spring in order to protect it on both sides. Oops, it's a little bit too much there. Good enough. All right, so let's take first spring, let's put it in there. And all right, and the second spring goes in here. Actually, what I should have done, that was a bonehead motor over here. First, let's change our seal. Let's take it, don't put grease on it. make sure it's not twisted. The skirt faces outwards, right? So right now it's twisted. That is not good. We need to make sure it's not twisted. Just go all around it. And there we go. Cool. Now we put the spring in. Yeah. There we go. Now let's put a little bit of grease on the spring. Oops, not that much grease. In order to hold on to the ball so it doesn't go flying around. Let's do this ball first. Just like that. This ball second. Just like that. Let's put this on the side. Now over here we have another skirt seal. Again, oops. Again, the skirt faces upwards. All right, let's clean it. Get a clean one. Clean the seat. Okay, let's grab the second skirt seal. Again, the skirt faces upwards. Make sure we are in without being twisted. Oops, see, it's twisted right there. Always double check. Nearly done. And there we go. So that's clean. Let's clean the bottom side of our high-speed rebound. Let's clean the bottom side of our low-speed rebound. Oops. Drop your low-speed rebound. Let's clean the wave washer. And now we're ready to put the damper into the upper body. Put in the upper tube. Let's slide it in. Bring it all the way down. Let's turn it by hand to get it started. There we go. Now grab your 28mm chamferless, again preferred. Okay, get a good amount of threads in. Grab our socket. All the way at the end, grab our torque. Oh man, be careful. Don't do stuff like that. Let me take it out. That's my rubber glove. Pull that out. Bring it to the end again without the rubber glove in it. Torque wrench, 27 Newton meters, 27 to 28 in there. And there you go, 27.3. Next, let's install our compression stack dials, right? So this is personal preference where you want them, right? So if I'm in the fully open position, let's say I'll put the GRIP2 facing all the way down. I don't know. I mean, it's whatever you guys want over here. Make sure that you have your detent balls. So one's on the inside, one's on the, well, one's here and one's over here, right? So again, and then same goes with this wherever you want it. So let's say this is in the fully open position. We'll put Fox on top. Grab our screw, 2mm, screw it down. Nice and finger snug. Don't over tighten it. You'll feel it when you get there. There we go. So just a little snug. Just make sure they work. Yep. Click, 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 click. And click, 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 click. Cool. And that is it for our damper service. For part 2 of the 50-hour service, we're going to start off with installing our foam rings, which have been soaking. Now, let's take the foam ring. Let's put it inside. Just like that. And then remove the metal rings from the top of your wipers. Put them on the side. We're going to put them in after, okay? Take just a thin coat of grease. I do it. Some people don't like doing this. For larger shocks, it's not an issue. For 30-inch stanchions and 32s, it can be an issue sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this into our wiper insertion tool. And we're going to take it and tap it down until it's nice and flush. Done. You're going to repeat the same to the other side. Now, I will say this. A lot of people are going to sit there and say, oh, you're not supposed to mix oils with 20 weight and the 4 weight or 5 weight, whatever you use on the damper side. I've had 3 Fox technicians from the factory tell me at different times, actually on different years, that yes, 20 weight is preferred for the foam rings because it actually does a better job at attracting dirt that makes it past the wipers essentially, and it is fully compatible with the 4 weight. It won't cause any issues, okay? So for those of you that are gonna comment on that, go talk to Fox. So repeat the same to the other side. Now that the wiper's installed, I'm gonna put grease on the inside of the concave part, right? So let's put some grease in there and grease on the other side. There we go. Now let's clean the back part. This is your best chance to clean the back part. Okay, so now in your case, you're gonna have an extra sag ring if you have the Fox 50-hour kit. The SKF 50-hour kit doesn't have a sag ring basically. I'm just going to use the same sag ring. Make sure your stanchions are clean, right? Let's just do it one more time before we slip everything in. Take your metal rings, put them on top, or put them on the stanchions, and then move this out of the way. Crown facing down, serial number facing you. Let's take this, slide it in. Sink one side, get on the inside, sink the other side. Oops. Sink one side. There we go. Both sides are sunk in. Fill up the lower legs with oils. We need 2 different oils, 1 for each leg. 4 weight or 5 weight Teflon for the damper side, 20 weight gold for the air side. We also need a specific amount. So if you look at that chart up there, you will see that for the air side, we need 20 cc's or 20 milliliters of 20 weight gold, and for the damper side we need 40 cc's of 5 weight Teflon or 4 weight oil. Well, for the damper side, all right. So let's start off with the, make sure you have enough space, pull your shafts apart or pull the inner shafts apart so you have enough room to put in a syringe. I have 20 cc's in this syringe. And let's put it all in. Done. That is my air side. And now for my damper side, this is a small head. I can't find my other head. So this is going to take me a while, but I'll put it all in. Well, it's not too bad actually. And we are done here. Now what we are going to do is connect the shafts on the inside, make sure the lower legs come out just like that. Before we install our nuts, let's clean the base of them. Okay, so we get a good connection. Also, let's make sure the base of the leg is clean. We do not want any debris between the crush washer and the nut. So the SKF kit comes with 2 crush washers. One of them's a black one that goes for this one over here, and the other one's like sort of clear that goes for the air side. Yours, if you have the 50-hour kit, is going to be both black. So don't let this confuse you. Again, let's clean the base. We want a good connection. All right. So now let's start with the damper side. Screw this down. Screw this down all the way by hand. Okay. Then let's do the air side. Screw this down again. This is the 15 millimeter on this side and the 10 millimeter on the air spring side. All right, let's make sure before we torque it. Bring it down. Let's do the same to the other side. For torquing the nuts, there's 2 different values over here. This is the air side. Fox says 5.7 newton meters for the air side. I like doing 6. For the damper side, they say 12.5 newton meters. I'm not a big fan of that. I've actually had issues doing that in the past with both GRIP and GRIP2 dampers. I do between 8 and 10 newton meters. Today I will do 10. Let's start off with the air side. I got my 10 millimeter socket in there, and well, I'm already there. Never had an issue with 8 to 10 on these nuts. There we go. 10.22. Since we're at the bottom, let's put in our rebound knob. So we have our high-speed compression. Put that one first. That one just plugs in just like that. Now, there's a flat spot for the low-speed compression shaft, right? And this nut goes onto that flat spot, basically. But first, let's put in our wave washer. And then let's put it right there. If you're not on the flat spot, it will spin around. So, come on. Okay. There we go. And both of them work. Perfect. Fully open. And let's leave these fully open. And then we can take the cover, screw it on to protect them. Next, let's place our metal rings in their slots. Repeat the same to the other side. Then grab your spray bottle or alcohol. Spray it down, I should say. Paper towels, and clean all excess grease and oil off of everywhere, okay? Especially around areas like around here, around the wipers. Just clean it off of everywhere. We do not want dirt just piling on there just immediately. And ta-da! And there you have it, folks. You just finished fully servicing your 2022 Fox Factory Series 38 float with a GRIP2 VVC damper. Not a hard job. Lower leg service, stay on top of your lower leg service. 50 hours doesn't have to be every 50 hours. Just stay on top of it in order to have an idea as far as the condition of everything. You saw the oil in this thing. It was a mess. Don't let it get to that level. Air spring on the 38 is different than your traditional air spring, but not hard really. In some air, compared to some other air springs, it's pretty easy. The GRIP2 damper is the GRIP2 damper, right? If you fully service it, it's going to take you a bit. If you skip the insides of the rebound, then you could cut that job down significantly. The compression stack's very easy to service on this thing. And that's pretty much it. All that's left now is put your dial settings back to where they were, put your air pressure back to where it was, make sure you put your cap back on, and then you're going to take the fork, you're going to put it on your bike, you're going to go out there and you're going to hammer the hell out of this thing. Have a blast with it, all right? So, folks, if you like this video, click that like button, click that subscribe button to see more videos, click that bell button, what-ding, in order to get notified when new videos get released. More videos like this are coming. If you want to see a couple of videos right now, those two over there might be of interest. And until next time, I hope all's well with all of you, and we will be talking to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.